Ready? Islam family. Apologies, Brother Todd will not be here tonight. I've got some things to share that we had discussed earlier about the restoration of the consular court. That's the main piece that we've been working on, because we have to take our places amongst the affairs of men. It's time to take that step. We've been abused, misused. It's time to eliminate some of those things. And by understanding certain principles, like in terms of what the sister was talking about, having an echelon degree, a third grade degree, and learning the meanings of words, the original meanings of words, the denotation, not the connotation of what we've been assuming is how we've been working. I don't know, since I'm not prepared to give out all these, but we're trying to put it on Sister Delilah's laptop, the document that was devised. It's called Restoration of the Consular Court, all right? And anyone that had been coming here, they had gotten a copy of this so that we could, demonstrate that we are full with regard to understanding that we're moving in one direction, which throughout it said that we're growing, and we're understanding that we are a government. We just have to take our places. The European has been posturing as us. In other words, trading places. The governor is a they, and yet they're sitting in our places making like they are governors, and all they are is they're doing business as governor, they're not governors, they're not doing government business. All these things out here now are color of law, color of authority, and they're not law. When we were devising this document, we had gotten up to 108 questions, and I was trusting that people have been looking at the videos that Brother Ties has been doing recently, where I think it was a couple classes ago, we did the restoration of the consular court. And some of the questions that were on there, I was trusting that, a little study, a little moving into these places that we claim that we want to be, all right? I have some demonstrations. The first thing I'd just like to do is, all right. The first thing I'd like to demonstrate is the 7 elements of jurisdiction. And I don't know if anybody knows what some of the elements of jurisdiction are. Does anyone know what the 7 elements of jurisdiction are? Anyone? The first thing, what do you think? What do you think in terms of jurisdiction? Someone has the right to speak with regard to you. Who do you think has the right, or who, in terms of, let's put it this way, the 7 elements involve, yes?
Status?
Yes, status. Yes, status. With regard to your being within this construct, this corporate construct, because they're making us sign contracts and be involved with contracts that, are fraudulent in the first place. Just like, the birth certificate is a fraudulent construct. And yet we have some say in it, because there's 2 people that have say in it. We have we are the authorized authority for the construct, and the Attorney General. He's the other one. They have, they're the ones that decide, whether they want to move it or not, because he's our parapatreus. In other words, where we have a father in terms of them, all right? But in terms of jurisdiction, the 7 elements of jurisdiction, what I was trying to get at is, in order for them to say anything, if there's discrepancy or diversity of citizenship, there must be some kind of problem, all right? The problem, what they're most likely saying is that that there has to be a crime, or there has to be some inequity that has happened in order for them to talk about they have jurisdiction. If there's no crime, if there's no inequity, then there's no reason for them to have any jurisdiction over you. And I was going to go over the 7 elements of jurisdiction. And the first thing is that there must be an injury. Someone must be injured. And a corporate construct can suffer no injury. If it's on paper, it can't suffer an injury. Only a living, breathing being, sentient being, can suffer a harm or inequity. And that has to be one of the first things that for them to even come in to speak about whatever they're saying that you have gone afoul of. And you know, the most popular thing is stopping us from impeding our travel. That's the most popular thing, to impede your travel. So, in other words, if someone stops you and you said, you know, your tail light is out, how is that a harm? Is that an inequity, or is it a crime? And as you know, that crimes must be clearly known, that everyone, any reasonable person will know that that it is a crime or an inequity. It can't be just some codes and regulations, rules, and ordinances to say that this has been committed. All right, this doesn't work that way. It has to be something that's reasonable, that you know that some harm has come to someone, a living, breathing person. And as I said again, corporate constructs cannot suffer harm or injury. So to say that, you know, an armed mercenary comes up to you and say you have a tail light out, what harm, what injury has occurred to you in terms of that? And if he's the one that's coming up to you and saying that he suffered the harm, and then he's also saying that he's going to arrest you, that's sort of like a contradiction. How can he arrest you and then say that the harm was caused by you to him? You know, it doesn't work that way. It has to be something that's reasonable, that we can figure out with our 5 senses. Like I said, the first thing, there must be a crime, and you know, traveling on the land is not a crime. It's not a crime. That's your right. So long as you understand that you have status, that you're not Negro, black, colored, African American, Indian, Native American, you know, so long as you know that you're not none of these, that you have a nationality, that you are Moorish American, that you can call yourself by that national name, Moorish American, then you have inalienable and unalienable rights, and they're protected by the Constitution, all right? And so to impede your travel, there's nothing in the Constitution says that, you know, they have the right to stop you anywhere, you know, they have no right. And that's how you have to learn the Constitution, so that you can protect your inalienable and unalienable rights. Now there's 2 different things. The unalienable is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Inalienable is life, liberty, and the right of property. You have the right to have property, but if they're going to take your property, you must be justly compensated. Like the 5th Amendment says, you must be justly compensated. They can't just take your property without you being justly compensated. And there must be an understanding of these principles in order to protect yourself against this molestation and violation, all right? I'm going to go over the 7 elements of jurisdiction. First, the accused must be properly identified. If he's not properly identified, you know, you can't charge anyone. You know, how are you going to charge them? And the accuser must be properly identified too. Because if the armed mercenary comes up to you and says that you're running with a tail light, he must be clearly identified. And by him saying, no, he doesn't have to give you any identification to say that, he just has the right to come up on you and impede your right to travel. So that's one of the first ones. The accused and the accuser must be clearly identified. And there must be, first and foremost, a crime or an inequity to have happened. And I don't see how the armed mercenary is injured by you running with a tail light. That might be something that's not a crime. It's not a crime. It's just stops you from signaling, but that's not harming anyone. That's the whole matter, not to harm anyone. The second one is the statute of offense must be identified by its proper or common name. A number is insufficient. Today, a citizen may stand in jeopardy of criminal sanctions for alleged violations of statutes, regulations, or even low-level bureaucratic orders. And that's what I was just, going over. That it must be understood. No harm is coming to anyone by you having no turn signal or a tree hanging from your mirror. There's no harm. But as we know, this has been what has been going on of recent, and this is why it's so important to revive the consular court, to restore the consular court, so that we can take our problems out of their jurisdiction and place it into our jurisdiction, because we are the government. We just lost sight of it. We've been hit in the head. We've been asleep for a while. Government, governing the mind. Everyone knows how to govern their own mind. We don't need someone to tell you how to govern your mind, except if you're a child, and then, as we grow up, we're supposed to come into that fullness. Not necessarily an adult, because an adult, based on the Black's Law Dictionary, is just a grown-up baby. 16-year-old, just a physical grown-up baby. If you look up adult in civil law, it says just a 16-year-old or a 21-year-old, a 16-year-old girl, I think a 12-year-old,
16-year-old woman and a 21-year-old man.
Yes. So when we used to hear that they're going to try our children as adults, that's all they're just saying is that they're full grown, they're big, but mentally, of course, they're 16 and 21 in capacity, and obviously by being under these operations that we've been under, this unum sanctum policies that we've been under for so long, it's reasonable to assume why we have not grown up. But because there's so much information out there right now, we don't really have excuses now. I'm seeing, we're sitting in here and understanding these things. And really, if you put it to people, and I do sometimes, I put it to my grandchild, it says, when I see him misbehaving, I say, you know better than that. And they do. You do know better than that. It's just that you got to reach down sometimes and pull out that which we lost, which we once were. It's still within us, because we're a physical being we're a spiritual being encased in a soul, encased in a body. We come down those three levels. We slow down that vibration. All right. So let's go on. 3. The acts of alleged offense must be described in non-prejudicial language and detail so as to enable person or... Did I go over that? I went over there, right? No? All right. The acts of alleged offense must be described in non-prejudicial language and detail so as to enable a person or average intelligence to understand the nature of the charge, to enable preparation of defense the actual acts constituting the offense complained of. All right, so I trust that you're getting the gist of this. It must be understood, you know. And if you go to the armed mercenaries and they come up to you and they're telling you that, you know, you're failing to obey me, you're being insubordinate, in other words. But how can that be when it must be clearly stated what the offense was? Was it an inequity, or was it a crime? And either way, it's got to be discerned. So, you know, I was watching this YouTube video. He says he was talking to, I see, what is he? He's a former jailbird, and so he was talking about, you know, when they do stop you, and if they start asking questions of you, the point of the matter is to ask them questions, because as they say, anything and everything will be used against you in a court of law. So if you start expressing something, oh, I was driving too fast, I was moving too fast, or I went through the light, you've given them a reason to start an investigation. And by giving them that information to start an investigation, then, you know, we resolved ourselves to allowing them to take us. You know, we're allowing them to, we've given them the right to come up there and molest us. That was the main thing about, you know, not giving them any information. And if they're stopping you in the first place, you know, they're supposed to be in peace. And if they're stopping you, you know, it's always that confrontational element that always comes up when we're engaged with. But they're armed mercenaries, and they're only doing what their due diligence have been taught. You know, they know that they're trustees, and well, yes, they do. They do. They know that they're trustees. They have a trustee position, and the point is, the matter is, they got to funnel it down up to those that are above them, so that they can make a collection and go into the ancestral estates that are there. Are there any questions? Or, you know, am I making myself clear?
Very clear.
All right. The fourth one, and I said this before, the accuser must be named. He, she may be an officer or a third party. He or she may be an officer or a third party, but some positively identifiable person, human being, must be the accuser. Some certain person must take responsibility for making of the accusation. So if they're just making accusations, you know, I can accuse anybody of something like that, and that's the position that they are, because they're nothing but operating for the corporate construct, the Khazarian cabal that's been in place since 1213. You know, that the secret treaty of Verona. You know, although it was placed on Congress in 1823 or something like that. I forget exactly what it was, but they were already planning these things out early on, how they were going to steal the estate, keep the estate from, you know, going into the rightful hands. Although it was since we did go to sleep, Moors, we went to sleep. 1492, that was the cutoff where we were asleep, absolutely asleep. And, you know, they started taking over the trust account, the Sexta Trust. You know, those accounts and trusts were established for us, because they know they had to have a remedy for us. They really did, because if they didn't have a remedy for it, then the karmic debt would come seriously back on them. Although at this point, in this juncture now, the chickens are coming home to roost for all these ones that have sent out, you know, those things that gone around the world. Although they've always put stuff right in front of our faces, which is, you know, how it has always been, but still, because we didn't have the etymon degree or the third grade grammar degree, we don't know how to read. We really don't know how to read. Yeah, as I was talking about the word writ is a noun, and what's a noun? A person, place, or thing, you know, and we'll get into some of the questions, you know, of the consular court. But like I say, it's very imperative that we take our places amongst the affairs of the world. We got to stop them from doing what they're doing, the harm that they continually do to us by traveling, just traveling. All we're doing is minding our business, you know, basically, and here we are, always under that tribulation, under that sword that, you know, if I go down the street, you know, if I don't have insurance, if I don't have my tail lights on, or if I got a tree hanging from my mirror or some dice hanging from my mirror, that this is cause for them to stop me from going forward and impeding my journey. All right, let's see. Are there any questions? Are we making ourselves clear?
Very clear.
All right. So 6. Did I do 5? The accusation must be made. Oh yes, that's the one. The accusation must be made under penalty of perjury. If perjury cannot reach the accuser, there is no accusation. Otherwise, anyone may accuse another falsely without risk. So my question to them that stop me, under penalty of perjury, are you swearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So if you're stopping me and you're saying that you're going to make a statement that I injured you, then it must be under penalty of perjury. He must know that you're saying to him, under penalty of perjury, you can be, you know, charged for making a false accusation, and that's my point with regard to that, you know, because they're always coming up on us. But there again, consular court. This is my back. Take it out of their jurisdiction, because they know that they have no jurisdiction over those who know that they have a nationality. They have jurisdiction over black, Negro, colored, African American, Native American. They know they have jurisdiction over them because they become, you know, corporate constructs. They are citizens of, they are property of, you know, those corporate constructs, or they're employees of those corporate constructs, you know. So, any questions? I might make myself clear.
Yes, you are.
All right, let's go on. 6. To comply with the 5 elements above, that is, for the accusation to be valid, the accused must be accorded due process. Accused must have complied with law, procedure, and form in bringing the charge. This includes court-determined probable cause, summons, and notice procedure. So when that ticket is given to you, that's a summons. So, you know, so how's he acting as being injured and he's giving you a summons at the same time? It doesn't make sense. You know, we got to use our 5 senses in order to stop some of this stuff. And like I said, again, must know that by restoring the consular court, we can take this stuff out of their jurisdiction and put it in our jurisdiction. It was done in Philly a couple of years ago. It sort of stopped. They had a place in one of those tribunals, and where if you requested to be removed from their jurisdiction, you could be placed under Moorish jurisdiction. You follow? Because it was called the interfaith court, something to that degree. And that's why I'm saying, if we know what we know, we got to take this away from them. This is not theirs. This is our homeland. This is our ancestral estate. We are heirs. We have primogeniture privileges. rights, not privileges, rights, to the estate, to the hereditaments. Let me, Radia, I just want to let you know that Brother Taj had a previous engagement, was a conflict, so I'm sort of like, you know, sort of like filling in, yes, filling in. I'm trusting that I'm giving some information so that people can utilize it, that in raising the consciousness so that, you know, we can get back to the consular court. You know, Dwight D. Eisenhower, he abolished it in 1954, but there were no more Moors to step up. If there had been Moors to step up from the temples, then we wouldn't be in these positions right now. However, law governs all events, so it was to be what is to be. And as we travel down this path, you know, we're going to get there and get there soon, so long as we, you know, can understand what law is. And then, like this document, these two documents, Drew Ali was saying, this is Circle 7 and the 101s, or really the 102s. He said, you know, take these and go save yourselves. You know, you can go save yourselves. And to demonstrate that, you know, these are affidavits, that's the point that I'm going to get to. What an affidavit is something that, if it's not refuted or rebutted, it stands as law. And this has the two seals in it, you know, which means that, you know, that it's been sealed. That's another point that I'm going to get on to about the seals, all right? And this, it says, our authority, and this is the creation of the religious corporation. That's the protection under the First Amendment. You know, no, Congress shall make no law with regard to the establishment of religion, all right? So this is another affidavit, and no one has refuted it. No one. Because, you know, one of the questions is, why are we Moorish Americans? Because we're Moroccans. We're descendants of Moroccans and born in America. And so learning, you know, that this is Maghreb al-Aqsa. This is Morocco in the most extreme west. We're staying on Morocco. So if we're Moroccan, if we're descendants of Moroccans born in America, we've been here all along. We wasn't never nowhere else. We were never anywhere else. We were always here. This is Morocco. And they're talking about the kingdom over there, you know, which came later, much later. But as always, it says, how old is our flag? It is over 10,000 years. And in the 101s, it says over 50,000 years. I had a discussion at Sunday school at a Moorish temple and where I go. And I was saying that, you know, all right, it says, what is our flag? It is a red flag with a green star, 500 stars in the center, all right? So it says flag, America. That's our flag. And then they were pointing to me and saying, telling me that the red, white, and blue banner of amity and commerce is a flag. It's not a flag. I had an argument with them. You know, it's not a flag. It's about amity and commerce. It is a passport, you know, for them to come up to the port, not to come on the land. The continental flag, if they want to come on the land, is the flag with the white canton, the cedar tree, and the red field. All right, that is the continental flag. But see, like, they have to have all three if they want to come on the land. But yet, when you go into these tribunals, what do they have? They got those banners in there, and then they got the gold around it, trying to bring the sea onto the land, doing admiralty and maritime law on the land. Islam. So they're bringing admiralty and maritime law on the land. You know, that's when you see that, when you go in there and everything in those tribunals are established basically or fashioned out signs and symbols of admiralty law going on, admiralty jurisdiction going on. You know, with the, like I said, with the yellow braiding around the banner, and the state, if it has a state, supposedly banner or flag that's all around it. So they're practicing maritime on the land. If they were to be in right jurisdiction, they would have to have the continental flag also. Islam. So, this is the one that, this is an affidavit that has not been refuted either. It was established earlier. Yeah, it's kind of, All right, I go on. Are there any questions? Are there any questions?
Yes. Maritime. What about, how do you take out of the maritime law, I should say, how do you get rid of the amity, the courts? How do you get rid of the courts?
Maybe you might need, I don't know if you should get the mic. The point of the matter is to question it in the first place, to ask them, are they practicing admiralty and maritime when you go in those tribunals, not courts, because all they are is doing business in there. This is like going to, let me give you an example. I'm on a bus, and it's called the Scepter Corporation, all right? And there's some people sitting here, some people sitting there, and I'm walking down the aisle, and I do not step on anyone's foot, but they took jurisdiction because I'm on their bus to say that I need to plead guilty or not guilty with regard to walking down the aisle when I harmed no one. And if I did harm someone, the accuser has not come forward. The corporate construct cannot be the accuser, which would be the Scepter Corporation, where the territory that I domicile in, all right? They can't make the accusation. It would have to be, because, like I said before, the corporate construct cannot suffer harm or injury. It's only a living, breathing being that can suffer harm or injury.
How can you bring back the council court?
That's one of the things that I'm going over, because I'm going to see if everyone has been studying so that we can take our places. Because we need to study this document. This document was really researched, really a lot of time was put into it, a lot of effort, so that we can grow into, because like Drew Ali says, we're only going in one direction. Moors are upright, independent, and fearless. So we're only going in one direction. So we need to know where we're at with regard to these questions, this questionnaire. I'm trying to find out, are we ready? Can we get ready? Let's get ready. Let's get ready. And that's why I was going over the 7 elements of jurisdiction. Because the accuser must be clearly identified. That's what I was saying. He must be clearly identified. A corporate construct is a fictitious plaintiff. And if you look up fictitious plaintiff, I don't know, somebody can look up fictitious plaintiff in Black's Law Dictionary.
How do they get rid of the council courts?
Because the temples were supposed to take that place, all right? And as you know, that there was corruption going on after Drew Ali left. They were supposed to take these places. That's supposed to be it's supposed to be a consulate. You're supposed to do your bank there. You're supposed to do your business there. You're supposed to have a women's league there. You're supposed to have your school there. It's supposed to be a university there. And none of that is going on. They were supposed to take these actions, but they haven't. So now that they're not, we got to go outside and perfect ourselves.
You said the president got rid of the council courts.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Eisenhower. Well, see, like up until that point, there were people sitting in those positions as counselors. But then when finally in 1954 he said, well, I'm giving it back to you, nobody stepped up. No one. And like I say, the temples were supposed to step up. Right. They were supposed to take that position. Drew Ali had already He had already designed all this stuff. He, and all his literature and all this, he had already designed all these things. So, it's not the temple that's wrong. It's those people sitting there managing the temples. That's what's wrong. Islam? Any other questions? I thought I saw your hand, but you didn't. All right. You want to read it for us? Give him the
person and a parent and a great.
Wait, hold on. A fictitious plaintiff. Fictitious plaintiff.
Fictitious plaintiff. A person, a parent in a writ or record as a plaintiff in a suit, but who in reality does not exist, or who is ignorant of a suit or of the use of his name in it. It is a concept of court to sue in the name of
contempt, right?
the ignorance in a suit, and is the use of his name in it.
All right.
It is the contempt of court to sue in the name of the fictitious party, and it says C4BI
There's a long range.
134.
Right. So is the state of Pennsylvania, is that a living, breathing being?
No.
Is the state of Delaware a living, breathing being?
No.
Is the state of New York a living, breathing being?
No.
So every time you go in there, it says the state of New York versus Jane Doe. How can they are fictitious plaintiff and it's in the contempt of court to even present that argument in the first place? So why are we even acknowledging this stuff? It's just just a seed to be planted so that we can grow into being what we ought to be in this consular court, taking our places amongst the affairs of men and taking back our lost estate, taking back our positions. As I said before, bays are governors, governors are bays. And here they are sitting in our places, making like, doing business as, not government, not governing the mind. That's, self-determination. And they can't govern or self-determine you. I am that I am, isn't it right? I am that I am. Who can tell you anything about you but you? Nobody else can tell you anything about you. You know you, I trust, but that's the whole thing. Know thyself, and thou wilt know the universe and the gods. So that's the whole thing, knowing ourselves. And then, I've been doing a lot of study on astrology of recent, and this is an astrology book. And then I come to find out the book that we call the Biblioheliotheque, or the Bible, is nothing but astrology. And then we were told certain things about that, one man wrote it. According to this European, over 1 million hands put something in this book. Now, because in 325, Constantine got together and decided to rearrange and take out the Vulgate and take out that which, he didn't, especially the information about the feminine principle. He mainly took out the feminine principles in that book. Although there are still some feminine principles in there if you understand it, if you can read it. But you got to break it down. You really do. You got to break it down and understand what it is and what it's about. All right. All right. So 7. Let me finish 6. Did I finish 6? The essential elements of due process are notice and an opportunity to defend. Simon versus Kraft, 182 U.S. 427. One is not entitled to protection unless he has reasonable cause to apprehend danger from a direct answer. The mere assertion of a privilege does not immunize him. The court must determine whether his refusal is justified and may require that he is mistaken in his refusal. But see, like, court ain't court. These are colorable operations going on. That's why when they're doing maritime and admiralty in there, that's not court. If you have to do that, then you need to be on the oceans or the waters in order for that to operate. To be on the land, that means the continental flag must be in operation. And they don't use the continental flag because they can't use the continental flag because they're a corporate construct. So, are there any questions? Again, let me apologize for Brother Taj not being here tonight. It was a conflict, so I'm just letting everyone know that what is going on, all right? So let me get on to the last seven of the 7 elements of jurisdiction. The court must be one of competent jurisdiction. There again, is it competent? Must be competent jurisdiction to have valid process. The tribunal must be a creature of its constitution in accord with the law of its creation. Now, what is the supreme law on this land? What is the supreme law? The Constitution and the treaties. That's the supreme law of the land. So if they're not operating on that, and they're using codes, regulations, orders, rules, that is not the Constitution. You have the protection from your ancestors, through the Constitution. So we must exercise that which our mothers and fathers, our forefathers and mothers have provided for us. Honor thy mother and thy father, that thy days may be long upon the earth, which the Lord God Allah has given thee. So, understanding this, the 7 elements, I'm going to hand out this document. Of course, it involves me, but
Can we get a copy?
Yeah, I'm handing it out. That's all I have made. So you can hand it out. I tried to have enough. Sis, I got you. I apologize to all those who are online, but because of I apologize for not having something on the board, but this was like extemporaneous. This was just something that I was required to do. I didn't know that I was going to be doing it, but here I am doing it. All right, if you look at your document, all right, it says Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia County, DC number 1614-0279, and it's got MC. See, these are codes here, what is it? You got to know what it is. It's got to be clear, all right? Criminal complaint, all right? Felony. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Delilah Passe, all right? Delilah Passe is my transmitting utility. That's my transmitting utility, all right? But the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is a fictitious plaintiff here. They're saying they have a complaint against a fiction. So, something ain't right here. Is everyone following what I'm seeing here? All right. So then it also says, I, the undersigned, do hereby state under oath of affirmation, my name is Brendan Novak. 2, accused, District Attorney Representative. District Attorney where? Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles. District Attorney where? That's not clear. These things aren't clear, all right? So it says, 2, I accuse Delilah P. Passe, in all caps, all right, who lives at 7128 Chew Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19119, with violating the penal laws of Pennsylvania on or about Tuesday, April 12, 2016. So if you have been injured, you can't say on or about. You will know what time, where, when, how, the whole 9 yards. It's not a guess on or about. That's a guess. All right? And who is this Brendan Novak? All right? We'll come back to that. Who lives at 7128 Chew Avenue with violating the penal laws of Pennsylvania on or about Tuesday, April 12, 2016 in the county of Philadelphia. 3, the acts committed by the accused were the defendant in concert with others knowing he or she was not licensed to do so, broke into or entered a building at 7128 Chew Avenue belonging to complainant Alexander Markin, and the defendant caused damage to the property in excess of $5,000. Something sounds kind of screwy there. Does it sound kind of screwy? If this person lives at 7128 Chew, how would I be breaking into, unless there is, this is my operation now. I'm going to go to the post office and ask if there's another building known as 7128 Chew Street, all right, Chew Avenue. I'm going to make sure, because see, like, this document is making like it's an affidavit. Now, I'll prove to you why it's making like it's an affidavit, all right? So how could I be breaking into, a building that, I lived in, or the transmitting utility domiciled in, how is that to happen, all right? And then that I caused $5,000, in lieu that $5,000 worth of damage, you have to demonstrate $5,000 worth of damage, It's got to be more than pictures, you got to really show this, all right? All right? In violation of Pennsylvania penal laws, sections, and titles, charges. Defendant has been fingerprinted, code description, code grade counts, all right? CC 0903, criminal conspiracy, F2 001, criminal trespass, F2 001, CC 3304, criminal mischief, for F3 004. All of which is against the peace and dignity of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So I undignify the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and I cause a disturbance at the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, because they're claiming that they're the accuser and they're acting as the accuser, all right? Because they're taking that major position. Although this other person, Brendan, what did I say his name? Brendan Novak is the one that he says I accuse, and I got to find out who this person is, because he never showed up. He has yet to show up in these tribunals, yet to show up. I've never seen him, and I've been there so many times. This isn't funny, but like, I know we as Moors, we're not to participate in this travesty and these color of authority, operations, but I needed the seasoning. Because, getting certain lessons, I had gotten add-up lessons. Yeah, I could come up with X equals 72, but how did I get to X equals 72? I needed to know how I got to this position that I was in, all right? So I would go there. I must have went there at least 15 times, all right? And this is part of my allodial cost schedule, goes on my allodial cost schedule, all right? That I have sent to them, given to them, placed on the record, all right? Now, to be collected, that's another thing, but I'm working on that too, because it takes, a while. Islam is given in degrees. You know, first is belief. You know, I believe something. Then you go to faith, which you know that you've gone to it, and then comes the fruition. So, personally for myself, I needed to go through these operations. I got arrested. I did. I went all the way out to the yard and all the shower and all that crap. I did go through all that. But see, like Yeshua went through those dismal crypts. He said, what I have done, you will do. And greater things yet you will do. So I needed to go there. Let's see, one of my favorite pieces from the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood. I trust I brought it. You know, yeah. Because see, like, he went to these sages. Yeshua went to these sages. And they asked him, Rabboni, why are you coming here? You know, you already know these things. You've come from the Most High. You already know these things. And his response was, let's see if I can find this really well. It must be, all right, it says, and Yehoshua said, in every way of earth, life, I would walk. In every hall of learning would sit. The height that any man has gained, these I would gain. What any man has suffered, I would meet, that I may know the griefs, the disappointments, and sore temptations of my brother man, that I may know just how to succor with those in need. So I went through it. You know, like I said, I went through those dismal crypts, because, you know, the greatest depths that you go to will be the greatest heights you go to. So I went there. I needed to find out, you know. That was the second time I'd been captured, you know. The first time was with someone else, you know, called myself helping someone else who called himself a Moor, and I didn't do anything but go there and support her, and yet I went out in cuffs. So I was in there for 17 hours, you know, sitting on that hard bench, cold, shivering, and all that other kind of stuff. But like I said, you know, Yeshua said, you know, what I have done, you will do, and greater things yet you will do. So I understood those principles, and I wanted to see those things, you know, to live those things, so I could be seasoned in those things. So I did those things. However, we're not really, as Moors, we're supposed to be way higher than this, because we've got the Great Seal, National Association of Moorish Affairs, who have taken it out of the temples and taken it to the civic part of it, because, you know, all they're doing in the temples right now is just the religious aspect, and then not being in honor. Because, like I was sharing with you before about the banner, and then they accused me of speaking radical against the banner. I said, no, I'm not speaking radical against the banner. No, if this is the American flag, and they hit the flag in 1779 in Philadelphia. The flag, they hit it. Chopped down the cherry tree. That's the point, they chopped down the cherry tree. So if he chopped down the cherry tree, that meant he put the flag away and hit the flag, all right? So that's the whole point with that. So that was the flag that was here. If they're saying over 50,000 years ago, that was the flag that was here, not no banner of amity and commerce. That's not a flag. And then they tried to say that, you know, USA, I'm a citizen of the USA, and then that's covering and masking up a lot of stuff, because what Drew Ali was saying, unity, salvation, and Allah. He wasn't saying that you're a citizen of the USA, because that means that you're a citizen of the corporate construct, that you're an employee of the contract, no, of the construct, no, and you're a proper person, uplifting of fallen humanity. Islam? All right, so I want to continue with this document. All right, it says, 4, I ask that a warrant of arrest or summons are issued, and that the accused be required to answer the charges I have made. This complaint has been reviewed and approved by Richard Boyd. I don't know who that is, but it's corporate construct, because it's all in capital letters. 5, I swear to or affirm within complaint upon my knowledge, information, and belief. Belief? I think there's something say, in the court of law, hearsay evidence is what? Inadmissible. So belief, I believe something, that doesn't sound like evidence. Islam?
Islam.
All right, I go on. I swear to or affirm with complaint upon my knowledge, information, and belief, and sign it on 4/13/2016 before Philadelphia Municipal Court Judge, Arraignment Court Magistrate. Now, if you can read those scribbles, I'd like you to, tell me who it is that, who signed this or wrote off on signature of a reigning court magistrate. I can't understand that. Everything must be clear. As we say in the 7 elements of jurisdiction, it must be clear. And let's see, what is the next thing? Let's see, signature of affiance. Affiance means that this is an affidavit, because only an affiant can swear out an affidavit. All right, on 4/13/2006, the above named affiant swore or affirmed that the facts set forth in the complaint were true and correct to the best of his knowledge, information, and I already read that, and believe, and signed it in my presence. I believe the within affiant to be a responsible person, and that there is probable cause for the issuance of process. Now, like as I said before, an affidavit, if not rebutted or refuted, stands as law. So this is my job, is to rebut and refute and go line for line.
Percent by percent.
Yes, so that, it will be made clear that, you have no jurisdiction here. You have no say in this. Yes, like I said before, I walk down the aisle of your halls and stuff like that, but that doesn't make you have jurisdiction, Islam? All right, so with that, I don't know. I have the restoration. What are you pointing at?
The seal. It's
Oh,
supposed
seal.
to be
Oh,
sealed.
yeah, the seal, that's another point. The seal. It's not a raised seal, and there's no clear signature of who's who and what's what. You follow? So like I say, each point, line for line, I will have to refute and rebut, and then place my lawsuit against these, what can I call them? Yeah, corporate constructs. Yeah, they're corporate constructs, but those persons who have caused me injury and harm by going through all this, Like I say, I know I was meant to go through it because, the mystery of the silent brotherhood. And that's always in the back of my mind, and even these Niceno-Constantinopolitan Creed believers say, what would Jesus do? And my thing is, what would Jesus, and then according to Jesus means justice. So what would justice do? How can I enforce justice? How can I make this so? Islam?
Islam.
So with that, I don't know. I don't know if Sister Sandra was able to get it on there on Sister Nyla's
Yes.
computer.
Yes.
So all right. So if anybody has flash drive, you can get the restoration of the consular court questionnaire. All right. All right. So let us begin. So in law, what is a writ? And I need somebody to answer me. I need to know that we're going to be equally yoked when we march up to these people and say, we're competent, we can handle our own affairs. We don't need you anymore. Remove from your jurisdiction and let's put it in our jurisdiction, the consular court, all right? So I need to know, let's have some readings. What is a writ in law? Can somebody get the Black's Law Dictionary and read what a writ is? In grammar, we know what the 8 elements of grammar are, speech are, the 8 elements of speech. So a writ is a noun, and to write is the verb. Islam? How we going? How we doing? You doing all right? Islam.
A writ is a precept in writing, couched in the form of a letter, running in the name of the king, precedent or state, issuing from a court of justice and sealed with a seal, addressed to a sheriff or other officer of the law, or directly to the person whose action the court desires to command, either as the commencement of a suit or other proceeding, or as incidental to its progress, and requiring the performance of a specified act or given authority and commission to have it done. A mandatory precept issuing from a court of justice. And
all right. Now let's go over this document. All right. Is this issued from a court? Is this issued from a court of justice? Huh? No? Because it has to be, what does it say? He said it has to be sealed. And is there a seal on here? This looks like, what do you call it?
Photocopy.
Yeah, photocopy. And that's how it was presented to me, was photocopy. It wasn't any raised seal. So it's
Photoshop.
Yeah, Photoshop. And this is not a lawful as opposed to legal. You know, because legal is the derivative of lawful, but lawful is what we're supposed to know. Because the supreme law of the land is what again?
Constitution
And the treaty.
and treaties.
The Constitution and the treaty, all right? So, are we getting the gist of what a writ is? Do we need to read it again? Go over it again.
Stand up. Stand up. Thank you.
a writ is a precept.
Hold it right there, all right? A precept. Does anyone know what precept is? We need to look up a precept, what the word precept means. Does anyone know?
No, they're looking it up.
I got a American Heritage Dictionary too. So, all right, all right. It is what?
A writ is a precept in writing.
A precept in writing. All right. Go ahead.
Couched in the form of a letter.
Does this look like a letter? Does this look like a letter? Does this look like a letter? Just asking. Examine it. If I'm wrong, then, we're scientists. That's what it's about. Moorish science. We're to do the investigation. We're to test things out. We're to do the repetition of the information and make sure that it comes out to what it's supposed to come out to. If we're doing geometry and you get x equals 72, what is the process? What are the axioms? What are the maxims you use to get to that answer? Like again, I say, I got to the right answer in geometry, but I didn't know how I got there. I was just guessing. Islam, go ahead.
Running in the name of the king, a precedent or state.
All right, state. We are a state. Mind, state, status. We have status. If we will have status once we restore the consular court. We have status, let's put it this way. Do we have status? If you have proclaimed your nationality, then you
Yes.
have status.
Yes. Islam.
But you gotta proclaim it, all right? And so we're trying to reestablish that which our lost estate. This is our lost estate. The consular court. We used to do these things. Why can't we do them again? What's wrong? What's wrong is we must understand and know law, because ignorance of the law is what? All right, go ahead and finish.
Issuing from a court of justice and sealed with a seal.
All right, court of justice. Are these courts, are these places that we go, are they courts of justice?
No.
A little louder.
No.
What are they?
Tribunals.
Corporations doing business as? Yes. Doing business as colored courts, doing business as, and like we always want to say, we have to purge our language because we're so used to using connotative language.
Yes.
The culture is in the language. And so long as we're using connotative language, then we'll never get to where we need to be. And as the sister was saying, having an etymon degree, going to the 3rd grade. I even looked up the word "but" the other day because I said, I think I know what it is, but it wasn't what I thought it was.
Right.
Even the words of, and, for. We got to go back and understand these words, learn how to read.
That's right.
We're not reading, we're just pronouncing words, saying them out loud and stuff like that.
Islam.
You know, like I say, things are right in front of our faces, like grammar school, grimoire. So we learn how to spell, how to cast spells. But did we know that we were casting spells while we were putting down those letters? No, they didn't teach us that. And then elementary school, elements. Elements. Did we learn the elements when we were in elementary school? No, like I say, they put the stuff right in front of our faces, but hey, it's incumbent upon us to read these things and know these things, because ignorance of the law is no excuse. It's right there. They put it right in front of our faces. All right, go ahead, Isaiah, please.
Addressed to a sheriff or other officer of the law, or directly to the person whose action the court desires to command, either as the commencement of a suit or other proceeding, or as incidental to its progress, and requiring the performance of a specified act, or giving authority and commission to have it done.
All right. So when they give you those tickets, they're summons, all right? Summons to a suit. They're saying you violated something and that you're being sued in a colorable operation, all right? Because you know it's a colorable operation because we haven't had government since 1861. When the Moors walked out and said, Jesus, you know, we haven't had government since then. And then they completed the whole coup d'etat in 1871 with the Naturalization Acts, you know, and things like that. So here we are. Here we are, using connotative language, using their operations to describe us. If we're supposed to be self-determining, which we are, I am that I am, how is it that they're able to say, no, you're Smith, you're Jones? How can they say that you are that when they don't know? Well, they do know certain things about you, because when they bring you in them tribunals, they already read your astrology chart. They know your birthday, what days to call you in there, which are favorable to them. They already know that. They by you know, knowing your birthday, you know, all this other kind of stuff, all right? But see, like, how is it that they have jurisdiction? It's because we give it to them.
Give it to them.
Islam. We give it to them.
Islam.
And then, like I said, we got the protection of these 2 books. We got the protection and we don't use them. We don't use them. Affidavits. Affidavits. Says an affidavit right on the back has never been refuted, never been rebutted. affidavit too. Never been refuted, never been rebutted. These are instructions that the prophet has given us so that we can live our lives, know who we are. Raise yourself up from your lowly position, from your lower self to your higher self. That's the whole thing. Raising yourself from your lower self to your higher self. Knowing your south node and your north node. Your rising. Get out of letting them operate in the form they are, but they are our test. They are our test. And you can pass the test. You can fail the test with an E, D, C, but I'd like to get an A when I go up there and do the test, So that's how come I do go over these things constantly. That's why I suffered a lot of these things, just so that I could get this information, and as Yeshua said, to succor, to know these things. I know these things. I've been there. And I think the other one is, I think it's chapter 5.
While you're getting that, I'm going to read precept.
Go ahead.
Islam.
Islam. Stand up.
Precept.
Stand up. Can't see ya. Thank you.
Precept. It's a noun, a rule or principle imposing a particular standard of action or conduct. The second definition says law and a writ.
And I think it's in the Black's Law Dictionary precept also, but it's a command. So if we're heirs and we have the superior position, why are we allowing something that's inferior to us command us? It's like we created this monster, and yet we don't want to be responsible for this monster that we created. We created this Frankenstein, and we allow this Frankenstein to still abuse and molest us constantly. Let's address some of these things so that we know the law, so when they come up on us, you ain't got nothing, bro. You ain't got nothing. I think it's chapter 4, all right? It says, verse 16, the teacher treads the way on every span of ground. He leaves his footprints clearly cut, which all can see, and be assured that he, their master, went that way. So you don't want to just want to follow somebody. You want to know that that path has been clearly cut. You can see that person, that teacher, that person has gone that way. So that, it's tried and tested. However, you got to tailor it because, hey, every one of us is different. But it's still, you can see that the master has gone that way. So, like I say, those people who practice the Niceno-Constantinopolitan Creed, they always are saying, what would Jesus do? What would justice do? What would justice do? Islam?
Islam.
All right. I think that's got that one. All right. So, are there any questions? I would like everyone to go home this evening, get your Black's Law Dictionary and review what a writ is and understand what a writ is. It's imperative. If we're going to practice and be what we say we are, you got to do the work. Nobody else can do the work for you but yourself to get this understanding and overstanding and understanding, all right?
Islam.
Islam? All right. Oh, all right. Then law, what is an affidavit? Can you get to that one, all right? Because this person here, Brendan Novak, he says he's an affiant, which means that this is an affidavit. And so, in order for it to stand, I can't rebut it. If I don't rebut it, this is my job to rebut and to refute it, all right? This is my job. And when we understand some of the procedures, how they go about their business to keep us in this mindset, then I say study, study, study. When we ask what to study next, study yourselves. Islam? All right, you got me for that, David?
A written or printed declaration or statement of facts made voluntarily and confirmed by the oath or affirmation of the party making it, taken before an officer having authority to administer such oath.
All right. So those affidavits that we've had tied to seal, what are they? He said the word there. Declarations?
Yeah.
Declarations. We're declaring. Juali said, proclaim your nationality. Proclaim your nationality to the world. So we take those documents that Brother Todd has sealed up, like the name correction and the judicial proclamation. Let the world know who you are. You were the mighty, mighty Moors. You know, something that. But
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
But have we been the mighty, mighty Moors?
We have been. We have to be again.
You must be yourselves.
Yeah.
So we must be mighty, mighty Moors. And how can we be mighty, mighty Moors but the restoration of the consular court? And I'm challenging everyone here tonight to study this and get on it and be it, live it, breathe it, walk it, talk it, so that you're not molested or abused. That's the whole thing, not to be molested or abused. So have we got a clear, is everyone clear about affidavit? Do we need to repeat it again? Huh?
Clear.
Repeat.
Oh, repeat.
Affidavit, a written or printed declaration or statement of facts made voluntarily and confirmed by the oath or affirmation of the party making it, taken before an officer having authority to administer such oath.
All right, who's our officer? Who would be our officer? Anybody? Anybody? So we have a wazir. We have a wazir. The sign, it says wazir on the document, wazir. Anybody know what a wazir is?
A wazir.
Wazir?
Teach us.
Let me see what I have right here. Go ahead. It's from the brother and the sextant. Maybe you can look it up in the dictionary there, but you know, it's one who has the position of power, an officer. He's an officer, and he's elected. You know. I put it in my bag. All right. What? W-A-Z-I-R. Wazir. Wazir. Or V-I-Z-I-E-R. Agreement. I'll tell you seeming moments. But anyway, and we're asking Taj to act in that place and position, all right? He has been placed in that position. He's a grand sheik. He's been an emir. He has been a vizier.
Is it also vicar or that's?
No, that's something else. I don't know if it's in that grade. W-A-Z-I-R or V-I-Z-I-E-R, Vizier.
Okay.
apologize.
Here we go.
We found it.
Vizier, Vizier.
Uh-huh.
A noun, a high officer in a Muslim government,
All right,
especially in the old Turkish Empire.
all right. So are we not Muslims? He's a high officer. So that's why you get your paperwork sealed with Brother Taj, all right? He always calls himself Brother Taj with the chief sneaks, but he has a position. He does have a position.
See that third hour.
He does have a position. So, again, I'm challenging everyone. We need to exercise our government. We need to take back our positions. Stop sitting at the little table. I don't know if everyone remembers, I'm going to use this connotative for Thanksgiving. You know, you sat at the little table because you dropped crumbs. You know, you sat there because you slobbered all over the place and your plate was all over the place.
Children's Day.
Yes. But once you demonstrated the capabilities to sit amongst the grown folks, that meant that you have climbed up. You've gone to the next place so that you can exercise the true grown, full person, sentient being. Islam?
Islam.
All right, so everyone's going to go home and study these concepts?
Islam.
Islam? All right. So the next one, describe and identify the distinct differences between a writ and an affidavit, and how are these instruments similar? All right, so let's just go through the first part. Describe and identify the distinct differences between writ and an affidavit. So can anybody based on what we did, this is an open book test. So, you know, get the book. It's an open book test. So we need to go over these concepts so that we know a writ is what? A precept?
in writing.
Yes, a precept in writing. Couched
In the form of a letter.
couched in the form of a letter. Let me hear. Come on, sis. Let's go.
She need a
Mike.
microphone.
A written or printed declaration.
I'm speaking on terms of affidavit.
All right.
Okay, with the writs that's preset in writing, okay? The affidavit should be confirming or affirming what the writ is about. And getting sealed. Concealing or sealing your writs.
Right. Now, writs are to be sealed. That's how when we usually do writs, we'll put the great seal. We'll put the great seal on our writs. All right, both obverse and reverse. We put that. That's a seal. That means a governmental operation, that we're in government ad antiguo, going back in antiquity, right? So, common law, that goes back to antiquity. And we should be knowing these things now. Common law is common sense. Come on. One of the most common laws is love your neighbor as yourself. And that's also a trust. But the most common is love your neighbor as yourself. And it must be demonstrable. You must be able to demonstrate. You must activate. You must be active on that. We are all tied by blood. One of the best examples that Brother Taj did was going back 100 generations. You'll see how we're all tied with by blood. Because we have 4 grandparents, 16 great-grandparents, 32, go back 100 generations. We're connected. We just forgot who we are. We're blood. In other lifetimes, time never was when man was not. So in other places, other spaces, we were. You just forgot. You gotta remember, it's time to remember
Wake up.
that I love you and you love me. You know, like we can be as happy as can be. You know, like what's that boy, the purple guy? I love you, you love me.
Barney.
Barney. Yeah,
The purple guy.
Barney. And I'll demonstrate something else to you. Sometimes I clean people's houses, you know, it's for a little finance and stuff like that, you know. So I was cleaning the sister's blinds, all right? And I was perturbed. I said, I don't feel like doing this for her. But then when I realized it says, she is me and I am her. So I start cleaning it as if it were mine. So I'm demonstrating love. I'm demonstrating that, you know, she is me. Love your neighbor as yourself. These are precepts, these are concepts, these are maxims of law in this book. These are maxims of law in this book. And we got to get back to these things because we're missing a lot by not tying this in with the consular court. We got to make these ties together. We got to make this all fit back together because we were one.
Islam.
All right, so let's go to part 2 of it. It says affidavits. Let's see, affidavits. All right, difference between affidavit and how are these instruments similar? All right, how are the instruments similar? How are they similar? Anybody? Son? You got the mic? You sis, you raising your hand there, sis, and you just, how are they similar? Come on, I need demonstrations that we know this stuff. Come on now, all right?
They're both declarations.
And?
As far as I got.
All right. If we need to go back to the book, let's go back to the book. Come on, this is an open book test. You can't get no wrong answers. There are no wrong answers other than saying, I don't know. We got the book. Make reference to the book. Can we make reference to the book? Anybody?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Somebody give me the mic.
We're looking at affidavit.
Yes, and the similarities and the differences, the similarities between an affidavit and a writ.
All right, we're gonna read affidavit again.
All right.
A written or printed declaration or statement of facts made voluntarily and confirmed by the oath or affirmation of the party making it.
All right.
Taken before an officer having authority to administer such oath.
All right, so again, this document, where was this oath? Where's the oath? Where's the administrator? Where is on this document? I'm trying to demonstrate how we can break this down and learn these things. Islam, you feel me?
Islam.
Islam? So what are we saying the similarities are between a writ and an affidavit? An affidavit is what again?
Both documents.
It's a declaration.
Declaration.
And a writ is a precept, a command.
Right.
You're commanding something to be done.
Right.
Islam? Are we getting it? I'm trying to break it down to these very small levels so that this is an open, I'm repeating again, this is an open book test. There's no wrong answers. We're scientists. When you're a scientist, you make the experiment, you state the problem, you do your experiments on it, you form a concept about it, then you do some more experiments on it, then you draw your conclusion, all right? So let's be scientists. We're calling ourselves Moorish scientists. Let's do this what we're claiming to be. Be that what you say you are. Islam?
Islam.
All right? So open book test. Open book test. Should I go on? Are we clear? Should I go on?
So an affidavit points out facts about a situation. It presents, this is what transpired, these are the facts. A writ is a command that says, it's a writ of habeas corpus, I'm commanding that the body be presented.
A bit of error.
A writ of error,
There's so many bits.
this is a command. Looked at this the wrong way, you made a horrible decision, and you need to make a correction
Right.
because I'm demanding that you, and presenting the error that you made,
Right.
and that you must correct this.
Right. And so when Juwali said, go into those halls, the city halls, and go with it in an intelligent tone, and you will get a favorable reply. So, you know, we got to go in there intelligently. And how do we go in there intelligently? By knowing the law. Islam?
Islam.
All right, so where are we at now? All right, are we clear? Like, I'm trusting that all these faces I see tonight, that they will be going home and doing their due diligence so that they will not be molested and abused and accosted. You'll know these things. You know, you won't expect somebody else to do this for you because you already know it. You don't need nobody to do it if you know it. If you know how to ride a bicycle, why you gotta have somebody ride a bicycle for you, you know? If you know how to dance, why you gotta have somebody else dance for you if you know how to dance, you know? Islam?
Islam.
All right, I'm going on to the next question. Why must we Moors of the Northwest fly our colors as customarily displayed upon our lawful and legal documents and instruments?
So we won't be dead at sea?
Yes, yes. Did I get that answer from everybody? Everybody understood that?
Say that again.
So we won't be dead at sea?
You won't be dead at sea?
Yeah, dead at sea. Because see, like, they're doing treaty law with that the banner of amity and commerce. That's maritime, as I said before, maritime and admiralty, all right? So if we're out on the sea and lost and we don't have our flag waving, hey, pirates can come up there and grab you because you ain't demonstrating who you are. It's a freebie, booty and prize. Let's go up there. And that's why I remember a few years ago those pirates from, I forget, Somalia or somewhere, they were going on those ships and commanding the whole ship, taking it away from them. Because they must not have been flying their colors, or if they were flying their colors, they ignored it anyway, because, you know, if it's doing commerce and amity, then there's no reason for them to have guns or all that other kind of stuff, because you're doing commerce, you know, on the seas. All right? Islam?
Islam. Question.
Islam.
Yeah, I was just going to add to it. And the flag distinguishes what law is being on the table. So like you said, if you have the amity flag, then you fall under that jurisdiction. So if you fly our flag, then we're under our jurisdiction and law that we apply to.
Islam, and that's why, you know, in this document, on the first page, let's see if we can find the first page here. Let's see. Yeah, on the first page, we're flying the continental flag as well as the American flag. That's the restoration of the consular court, the juror questionnaire, and this is just part one. There's 108 questions, and that's what we're going over right now, you know? Because like I say, we must demonstrate competency. We gotta know these concepts, these maxims. That's why I went over the 7 jurisdiction, the 7 elements of jurisdiction. We just put it on Sister Nyla's, yeah, yes. Yeah, we just, and if you got
A computer.
if you have a flash drive, you can plug it in there. And I think Sister Nyla, you have flash drives? I think she has some flash drives for sale, so that, you get this information, so that you too can be taking this open book test, so that you can demonstrate that you know what you know and you are what you are. Islam? All right. So we did ask them why we must color up,
Good to see you.
why we must fly our flags on every instrument. Every instrument we must fly our flags. All right. Question 5. What is a maxim of law? Anybody? You need to go to the book?
Brother in the back.
Islam.
Wait a minute, wait for your mic.
Go ahead. Yeah, the mic.
A maxim is a principle?
Yes, yes. It might be a little bit more detailed. Like I say, this is your job to find out. Come on, y'all. We got to find these things out. Yes, it's a principle, just like love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice are principles. They're maxims. You got it, Isaiah? It's just like, in math, you start out with the problem. You start out with the axiom. You start out with something that's already been given. Something that goes back eons. Common law, eons. Common sense.
Maxims are but attempted general statements of rules of law and are law only to extent of application in adjudicated cases.
Do we understand this?
Read it again.
Read it again.
Maxims are but attempted general statements of rules of law and are law only to extent of application in adjudicated cases.
So, does anybody else, are we getting this? Can anybody else spell it in a different way? Can I get someone to spell it in a different way? I want to see that, we're getting these concepts. We gotta be competent. If we want to reestablish consular court, come on, y'all. Come on, so can somebody spit it out?
This is the American Heritage Dictionary. Maxim is a noun, a concise formulation of a fundamental principle or rule of conduct.
Rule of conduct. And you were right. Principle. It's a principle. So let me hear what it is again. Can I get it? Can I get an amen from the audience here? Can I get it? Islam?
Islam.
What is it again? It's a what?
Read it again, sir.
Principle of conduct?
Read it again, sir.
A concise formulation of a fundamental principle or rule of conduct.
Rule of conduct.
A concise formulation of a fundamental principle or rule of conduct.
So we know we're going to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Is that right?
Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
I need a little bit louder, Islam.
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 So the maxim, law does no one injury.
Islam. Islam. Yes. Yes. And there's equity maxims. There are different kinds of maxims, but principles to guide your behavior,
Your
to guide your
conduct.
life,
Your conduct. Yes.
to guide your conduct. Islam?
Islam.
Universal law?
Yes. Islam. Islam. Although, we're under the tribulation of the Khazarian mob, and they're armed mercenaries, but spit law, come on. we should be able to spit law so that we don't have no doubt that we know what we know, that I am that I am. That's on my dial plate. I know these things. And they don't know when your light is shining. They won't mess with you. They won't bother you. They'll leave you alone. Even though they got all these trappings, bells, and whistles to go through your the license plate. And they know right away whether there's insurance on the car, whether it's registered. They already know this.
Right.
But there are people traveling the land right now they don't mess with, even though they are using that corporate construct known as a license plate. They don't mess with them. There's this European son, he's past form now. His name is, Charlie Sprinkle. He's on YouTube.
Yes.
Check him out.
Yes.
Check him out sometime. He stopped Nancy and Ronald Reagan from even, doing what they normally do. Nancy Reagan tried to use her card, and it said, "Psst, denied." Charlie Sprinkle. It comes up strange on YouTube, but just run it for about 15 seconds, and then you'll see him. He had emphysema, I think it was, but he describes, what he did, how he stayed one step ahead of him and one step behind, and he utilized those powers in City Hall, utilized those sons and daughters in City Hall, and he got a remedy. So I'm not gonna tell you what the whole story is, but the ending is funny as get out. What he did at the end. It's really funny. You must check it out. Charlie Sprinkle or Charles Sprinkle. You can YouTube it, Google it, whatever. All right. I think we sort of bring over number 6 says, what is a precept? And can I get a whoop, whoop? What is a precept? Come on. Come on. It's an open book test. You can open the book, read it again. A precept. What is a precept? We need the microphone.
A rule or principle opposing a particular stand or conduct. I got a bit of it.
All right. Isaiah, did you look up precept in the Black's Law Dictionary? Sister Marcel, did you want to read it?
This is American Heritage again. A rule or principle imposing a particular standard of action or conduct.
Do we get it? Do we understand? Yes? No? I ain't hear nobody say nothing yet. Yes? No?
Islam.
Islam? All right.
A commandment in writing sent out by a justice of the peace or other like officer for the beginning of a person or record before him.
A command. A command.
Right.
A precept is a command. You're commanding them to do it. And why can you command them to do it? Why? Huh? Because we're the
Because you
law.
execute.
Yes, and we're the lawful government. We just haven't been exercising it. That's why I'm going to say it again. A consular court. Removing it from their jurisdiction and putting it in our jurisdiction. But in order to be a consular, you must be competent.
Yes. Islam.
Islam?
Islam.
And then by going over these things, breaking them down to their smallest parts, I'm trusting that it will open up and flower for you. I'm just trusting. Because, this is how we got to be. How, the uplift and fall of humanity. By teaching, how do you uplift all humanity? By teaching them to be themselves. Islam?
Islam.
So, all right, we've done precept. I don't know, what time is it, Sister Nyla?
9:30.
9:30? How long do you want to go to? All right. I trust that that's what you're saying. All right. The next one is, what is the meaning of primogeniture? What is the meaning? I'll spell it for you.
Wait.
Primogeniture. Primogeniture. Open book. Let's read it. Open book. It's an open book test. Come on.
Primogeniture. The earliest ancestor or forefather.
Islam. And why are we the earliest? You know, we got the circle 7 to chapter 47. You know, chapter 47 tells us why. Why? Anybody want to be why? Somebody want to be why?
Chapter 47, just start at number 1?
Yes.
Okay. Chapter 47, Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa. 1. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. 2. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan.
All right, you can hold it right there. That's the first. They are the first that were here. It says ancient forefathers. Is that not what it says?
Yes.
Earliest ancestors. Those are the earliest, and like I say, that's an affidavit of fact. Nobody has refuted or rebutted it. Nobody. So that stands as law. So if you know who you are and where you're descendant of, we're descendants of Moroccans born in America, all right? So if you know who you are and that this is your ancestral estate, why aren't we utilizing it, being it, doing it, whatever? Why are we not doing these things? Because I'm saying, you know, being ignorant of the law. Let's get unignorant.
Okay.
Let's know.